I was born and raised in Texas and ended up living in a family, frankly, that did not put pressure on us 10 Cleaver kids to go to college, but we all did. And after college, I moved to Kansas City and went to work for what was then the Bendix Corporation. Today it's called Honeywell. And then left there and went to seminary for an additional 3 years and became a United Methodist pastor. And I served the same church for 37 years, which is unheard of in the Methodist tradition. Normally 3 or 4 years and you're out to another assignment. So I stayed here for a considerably longer period of time than most of my colleagues stayed at churches to which they had been appointed. And I became actively involved in Kansas City's social action community, and I had come to Kansas City with already some connections with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which is the organization that Dr. King headed until his assassination on April 4th, 1968. And, you know, in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, the natural order of things would have been, you know, you do your social action work. A lot of the things that we had to march for in days going by, we don't have to march for today. So we deal with them in the legislative arena. And I ended up running for the city council and serving there for 3 terms or 12 years. And then I was able to win the mayoral race in 1990 and served there for 2 terms. And about 3 years after I had left the mayor's office, a number of people, including Ike Skelton and Nancy Pelosi, began to lobby me about running for a seat that was being vacated by Karen McCarthy. And I agreed to do that. Challenges are the mother's milk for politicians like me. And I've looked at things that need to be done, and particularly when someone says, oh, you know, that's a nice idea to have, but, you know, it's not going to go anywhere, so why don't you just, you know, fall in with the marching band? So I have a history of being an activist politician or an activist elected official, which means that I create a lot of have a lot of ideas. Hopefully they are creative, and then I've been able to implement them over the years, and that has been one of the reasons I've had the success in politics that seems to have rolled my way. I think most people right now are concerned about health care, particularly in Missouri, where many of the people are struggling because the Missouri General Assembly failed to expand Medicaid. And with the expansion of Medicaid, we would have approximately 500,000 new individuals receiving health care regularly. But there's been a dismantling of the Affordable Care Act since day one, and they just take a little at a time. So we are simply trying to save the ACA. Right now, it's being disassembled a little bit at a time. Every other month, you can find that legislation is being passed to undermine the Affordable Care Act. I think that obviously a clear way of solving the problem is Medicare for everyone, which is the system in many of our sister nations around the globe. My nephew played basketball, he retired a couple of years ago for one of the European teams and in France. And he was running down the court and popped his Achilles, and they picked him up, took him to the doctor, took him to the hospital. They performed surgery on him the next day, and he said that was it. He had to sign some kind of document about his injury, but that was pretty much all that it took. And right now, that same kind of injury in the United States would probably wreak havoc in the life of just about anybody.